Hey, what's going on, you guys? Mark here, back at you with another video. And for today's video, you guys, I want to talk about things that I don't miss about high school. You know, there's plenty of things that I do miss. I miss my friends, I miss my teachers, I miss just basically all the people I saw every single day. I miss the library. Oh my god. Like, I'm not even kidding. If I won like multi-millions in the lottery, like I would probably buy my school's library because I freaking loved my high school's library so freaking much, but that's not even the point of this video. Yes, there's many things I do miss about school in general, but there's a few things that I don't miss, and I want to talk about those for this week's video in case you guys can relate. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I don't miss about school is the early wake up times. Okay, here's the thing is that I get it. Like, school has to start early, like you gotta get an early start on the day so you can get out early, and not everyone wants to be in school in the evening, but did we have to start it at like 8 in the freaking morning? Like, I would have been totally fine starting school at like 10 or 11 and just getting out like around 5 or 6. Like, that would have been totally fine with me because then I go home, get to have dinner, relax in the evening for a bit, and I get to stay up later. Like, it would have been perfect. But like having to get up at like 7 a.m. just to get my morning routine done, then get to school for 8, like everyone in class pretty much looked like this. Like, have you guys seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Like the scene where like the teacher's like, anyone, Bueller, and like everyone in the class just looks like zombies. That's what everyone looked like for real. Like, why do we have to start at like the earliest of early in the morning? Like, that was just not cool. The second thing I don't miss about school is gym class. Let's all be honest here, gym class sucked. Like, it really sucked. Gym class was just very awkward because this was like the very first time, like, I think we get like the change room experience of having to go into the change room with all our classmates and like having to awkwardly change in front of them. Like, that is just awkward to begin with. But then like to go out and do like physical activity like with all of your classmates is just very, very uncomfortable. Like, you're just running around and you're like, I can't look weak in front of my classmates. I have to pretend like I'm like an elite athlete right now. That was me. I was so self-conscious about how I looked to everyone else in my class that I like pretended that I was this like amazing athlete, but it showed. Like, 1 minute into sprinting, I was completely dead and out of shape, so that never worked out. And every year we did this horrible thing called the 12-minute run. Oh, that thing was created by Satan, like, for real. It's pretty self-explanatory. It was a 12-minute run. It was like the big test of the class. Like, at the end of the semester, you had to do a 12-minute run, and like, everyone hated it. It was the worst thing, and everyone was so winded by the end of it. It was just, what an awful time. And one year in high school, my gym class was first thing in the morning. Just imagine that, like, rolling out of bed and going to school and having to like immediately change into your gym clothes and like doing physical activity. Like, this was like a low point in my life. Like, physical activity and mornings just don't mix, but especially not in school. Just no. The third thing I do not miss about school is sitting on the freaking floor during assemblies. I don't know if everyone's school experience was like that. I feel like maybe some of you went to like a really good school where they gave you comfortable seating, but for me, that was never a thing. Whenever we had assemblies and stuff, we'd just be brought to the main gym area and we'd have to sit cross-legged on the cement floor. This was okay for the first maybe 1 minute of sitting, and then after that, it's just painful, and I think you guys can relate to that. Like, my butt bones just went numb in pain. Like, it was just so uncomfortable, and I've said it before on my channel, like, I used to be so skinny. Like, it was literally just bone hitting the ground, and it was so uncomfortable. In addition to that, having to go back to class and sitting in hard plastic chairs. Whose idea was this? Like, I want to talk to this person to find out what they were thinking. Like, what were you thinking? We're not meant to sit on hard chairs. Like, that is not comfortable in any way, shape, or form on the human body. Like, I don't get it. Like, it was so uncomfortable. Like, my spine would just be aching. Like, I'd have to move positions all the time because I'm sitting in a hard plastic chair that's not meant for my spine to be resting on. Like, oh man, seating in school was just the absolute worst, and I do not miss that at all. Meanwhile, all the teachers got the most comfortable seating. Like, they got the little bench with the little like pillow underneath, or their nice office chair by their desk. Yeah, nope, screw us. We get the hard plastic chairs and the floor. Awesome. I do not miss that about school at all. Another thing I don't miss is reading in front of the class. This was always the most awkward and the most pointless thing, because I get it, they're trying to prepare us for the future if we go into a business career where we have to talk in front of people, yada yada yada, but like, just no. Like, do I look like I want to awkwardly get up in front of people with my freaking blushing red face and getting tongue-tied reading this like chapter of a book? Like, no, I don't want to freaking do that, or doing like one of my projects in front of everyone. Like, how about you just mark it by yourself, teacher, and that's it. Like, I don't want to present this in front of people. Like, it's the most awkward thing. And there was a girl I went to school with who was like deathly afraid of this. She actually cried once when she got up to go read because she was so afraid. And I'm like, this is causing more damage than good. Like, this is not preparing us for anything. Like, this is just scaring people, making people uncomfortable. Like, it's just, no, I hated reading in front of the class, and I think everyone can relate to that one. And the last thing I will talk about that I don't miss about school are the volunteer hours. This one I know is probably just relatable to people who grew up in Ontario, but basically in Ontario, Canada, in order to graduate high school, you have to do 40 hours of volunteer service. Yeah, just think about that for a second. In order to graduate, you have to do 40 hours of mandatory volunteer hours that has nothing to do with your education, nothing to do with your brain power, which is what you're in school for. Like, you will not graduate unless you do this. And I say volunteer in quotations because there was nothing about this that was voluntary. Like, you're telling me that I'm not going to get my certificate of graduation unless I do this. Yeah, honey, that ain't volunteering, that's slavery. Like, call it what it is. This isn't voluntary in any means. You're telling me I have to do this in order to get this, and I'm not getting paid, so this is slavery. Like, it is slave hours. I always called them slave hours to my friends and they always thought it was so funny, but it's so true. By the way, I kind of cheated on mine. I was a little short on a few hours when it was almost time to graduate, so I just signed off on them when I turned 18, so don't tell anyone. I mean, I get the idea. Like, it's great to encourage community service and volunteering, but this ain't the way to do it. Like, you can't just force people to volunteer, which isn't like force someone to volunteer. Like, that's not a thing. Like, those two words don't belong in the same sentence. You know, like, volunteering is when you're offering to do it. In this case, I'm not. I have to do it because I have no other choice. I could go on and on about this. I'm very heated about that. Like, again, I get it. It's a good idea in concept. Volunteering and community service is good, but that's not the way to do it. That is just not right. Okay guys, funny story. I actually finished recording like 5 minutes ago, but I just remembered something that I forgot to talk about that I just can't do this video without mentioning. But another thing I freaking hate about school was fire drills. I can't believe I didn't think of this last night. Like, I'm glad I thought about it when I did, but like, fire drills. Let's talk about fire drills. Okay, so fire drills were just so stupid to me for many reasons. Mainly because if there was an actual fire, do you think like we would all just leave our belongings in the class, calmly get into a single file line, head towards the nearest stairwell, calmly exit the school? Like, no, that would not happen. It would be everyone for themselves. Like, everyone would be trying to save themselves. It would be absolute chaos. Everyone would be running around. There'd be people falling, people being pushed. Like, it would just be absolute pandemonium. But in these fire drills, it's so funny because they act like we're all gonna somehow be prepared for this because we did like one drill a year where we just drop our things, calmly walk out the class. Like, we don't know how big a fire would be. We don't know where it would be. Like, it's just so funny to me. Like, whenever we do fire drills, how like idealistic it is, because in reality it would be absolute chaos. Unorganized, utter chaos. And I always found it so funny when they're like, just leave your stuff. Like, if there's an actual fire, you leave your stuff and go. Like, you think I'm gonna leave my backpack with like my laptop in it and like my wallet and whatever else I carry in my bag? Like, no, that is coming with me. Like, I'm not leaving anything. And being in Canada, fire drills were never fun because you're either going out into the very cold weather or into the boiling summer heat. There was no in between. Like, it was one or the other, and we'd have to stay out there for like 20 minutes. And we didn't have our coats or anything because we just drop our stuff and go. Like, we're supposed to do what we would do if there was a fire. So like, we're out there in like our like one layer of clothing in the cold, just shivering, waiting for them to just let us back in. And we're like, this is so pointless because we know in reality if there was an actual fire, this would not be calm and organized. Like, it just would not be. So yeah, I had to talk about fire drills before I ended this video. So there's that. Continuing on with what I recorded 5 minutes ago. But anyways, that's all the things that I don't miss about school that I'm gonna talk about for this week's video. So if you guys enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let me know if you could relate to all the things I talked about. And if you guys have any suggestions or things you don't miss about school, do let me know in the comments below because I know for sure I missed some. I tried to think of all the ones I could, but I was drawing a blank, but I know there's more. So if you guys think of any yourself, please let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to share this video with anyone who you think would enjoy it. And as always, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. All links to that are down below and at the end of this video. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already because I post videos every single Friday and you don't want to miss it. So hit the subscribe button right down below. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys next Friday for another brand new video. Bye!